All right, so lesson number 84, talking about quartiles, inner quartile range, and box plots. Okay, quartiles are going to split the data into 4. And the inner quartile range is another type of measure of spread, like how range measures the spread of the data. Inner quartile range is going to measure kind of the central spread of the data. Okay, and we're going to create box plots. These might look familiar. You've probably done them in like 8th grade last year, for some of you. You may have seen these before, okay? All right, so here are our steps. Bless you. Here's our steps for creating a box plot, okay? It seems like a little bit much, a lot of words here, but part of it is just definitions are kind of built in here because we have some new terms. So first quartile and third quartile are going to be those central values. Okay, so first thing you're going to do is list the data from least to greatest, just like yesterday. Then you're going to find the median, right? So I'm finding that middle point that's going to split it into 2. Then I'm going to look at the lower half, and I'm going to work my way inwards to find the median of that, to split that. And then I'm going to look at the upper half and find the median of that set, which will be the third quartile. Okay, so I've got a median, Q1, and Q3. Okay, so once we have the median and then the first and third quartiles, we're going to use those 3 points along with the min and the max, right? Those are really easy to find when we list it from least to greatest, just the first number and the last number. Once we have, so we're going to have 5 kind of significant points. We're going to plot those points on a number line and then create a little box and what are called the whiskers, okay? A box and some lines. And then this is the formula for that inner quartile range that I was talking about. So if you want to write down at least that equation over there. IQR equals Q3 minus Q1. Okay, so you're going to get a number for Q3. You'll get a number for Q1. You'll subtract those to find the range. Okay, just like we subtract max from, or the min from the max for the actual range, we subtract Q1 from Q3 to find the inner quartile range. 1, 3, yeah. Okay? Okay, so moving on to numbers 1 and 2. First thing I'm going to do here for number 1 is reorder these from least to greatest, okay? So I have the number of points scored by Jane in 7 basketball games, okay? So she scored 13, 12, 2, 0, 16, 3, and 14. Okay, I rewrite these from least to greatest. That's 0, 2, 3, 12, 13, 14, then 16. Okay, now what I want to do is find the median. So I work my way into the middle, right? So I've got, crossing off on each side, I'm left with 12 in the middle. So that's going to be my Q2. The median I can simply write as Q2. Okay, so 12 is my median. Okay, now I'm going to split the data. So I did this, right? I had my data, I split it into 2. The median was right there. Okay, and I just split it again. Okay, so that 12, though, is kind of sticky. It's right in the middle, so it kind of gets shared, okay? It's a sticky situation. Okay, the 12, I can't pull it apart into one of the halves, so it kind of gets shared into both of them, okay? So when I look for the middle of the first half, I'm going to include the 12, okay? So I'm going to cancel out like this. Do you see the blue marks there? Okay, now I'm left with a 2 and a 3 in the middle here. So how do I find the median then if I have 2 and 3 as the 2 middle entries? Add, divide by 2, so what would the median be here? 2.5, right? Right in the middle of those. So my Q1 is 2.5. Okay, now same thing on the second half. I have 12, 13, 14, 16. I want to split those in half. Okay, so I'm going to look for the median. I cancel out these 2, and I'm left with these 2 in the middle. So I need to find the exact middle of those. Between 13 and 14, the median would be, or the average, I guess. I find the mean of those 2, right? So it's 13.5 for Q3. Okay. Now for my box plot, I just need to know the min and the max. The min here is just 0, right? And then the max would be 16. So I'm going to make a number line. I want to make sure I have at least the values 0 through 16. So I'll make my number line like this, and I'll go, I don't know, maybe by 4s. That kind of breaks it up nicely. So I have 0, 4, 8, 12, and 16. This is just my number line, okay? I'm going to plot these important points now. So the min is here at 0. The Q1 was 2.5, so that's about right here. Q2 is 12, so I'm going to plot that point here. Q3 is 13.5, so that's about here. And then the max is 16, so that's this point. Okay, do you see I have 5 points? Okay, we're always going to have 5 significant points here. With the middle 3 now, I'm going to make the box. So to do that, I do horizontal lines through these, and I just connect it to make it a rectangle. Okay? And then the whiskers just go on the side. So I go from the min to Q1, and then from Q3 to the max for the whiskers here. That's it. That's my box plot, or sometimes they call it a box and whisker plot. Okay? The other thing I could be asked is to identify the IQR, like it says up at the top. That's part of the instructions here. So the interquartile range here, I take Q3 minus Q1. So that's going to be 13.5 minus 2.5, which is 11. Okay, so remember, that's just one of the ways to kind of talk about this, how the data is spread out. Okay, so in this rectangle, from this side to here, there's 11 numbers. Okay, so the interquartile range is 11. Okay. Again, remember, how many pieces does this break the data into when we do this? 4, right? So we have 4 pieces. 1 is the whisker, 2 is this next part, 3, and then 4. Okay, so we can kind of read some information from that. Okay, so 25% of the data lives here. 25% of the data lives in this section. 25% and 25%. That makes sense? Breaks it up into 4. Okay. Let's look at number 2. All right, so number 2, I already ordered it from least to greatest when I made this, and there's actually a 7 missing though, so this was me finding the median. There should actually be another 7 right there. It is. Okay. Okay, so there's this is the number of runs scored by a softball team in 20 games. If I work my way in, I'm left with 7 and 8 in the middle. So what's the median? What? 7.5. Okay, 7.5 is my Q2 or my median. Okay, and that 7 and 8, now that I have 2 in the middle, this half gets this one, this half gets this one. Does that make sense? Okay, so when I had found my median, there was 2 in the middle, so I can just split them apart. Okay, so the 7 goes in with the lower half, the 8 goes in with the upper half, right? That's what half fits in. Okay, so I'm going to count in on this half, cancel out, find Q1. Okay, then on the second half, I'm going to cancel out and find Q3. All right, so here I'm looking in the lower half. Canceling out, I'm left with 2 4s here in the middle. So what would my Q1 be? 4, right? This is the median of 4 and 4, or between 4 and 4, the average of those is just 4, so this is 4. Okay, now in the upper half, I have from 8 to, the first 8 up to 14. I'm going to cancel out, find a middle value. So I'm doing that in red here. I get 2 10s, so what is my Q3? 10. What if I had a 10 and an 11? What would Q3 be? 10.5. Okay? 10.5. Okay, so I have my first, second, and third quartiles. I need my min and max. Okay, what's the minimum here? What's the smallest value? 2, right? And what's the max? 14. Okay, so I'm going to make my number line. I need to make sure I go from 2 to 14. So I'll just split it up by 2s. So I have 2, 4, 6, 8, etc. 10, 12, 14. And now I'm going to plot these points. So my min is 2. My max is 14. Q1 is 4. So it's right here. Q2 is 7.5. That's right about there. And then Q3 is 10. Okay, I have my 5 points. These 3 make a box. So I do lines and make the rectangle. And then I do whiskers to the outside, right? Alright, so this represents all of my data. I know the first whisker is where 1/4 of the data is. Okay, so 25% for the number of runs. So 25% of their games, they scored between 2 and 4 runs. Okay? In 25% of their games, they scored between 4 and 7.5 runs. Okay, do you see how that splits it up? And then in the top part, the top whisker, so I know in 25% of their games, they scored between 10 and 14 runs. Okay, so it just is a way to kind of split it up. All right, and then for this one, I could also find the IQR, right? Interquartile range is Q3 minus Q1, so 10 minus 4 here would be 6. All right, so for number 3, this is actually a problem that we did before. We did mean, median, mode, and range for this one. So let's write them again from least to greatest. What's the smallest number?
77.
What's next?
84.
And then?
86.
And then? 90, then?
99.
93. Okay, what would my median be here? 86. Good. If I go into the middle, I get 86. Okay, so that's going to be my Q2. 77, what's special about the number 77 here? What is it? It's the minimum. Good. So the min, what's the max here? 93. Okay, and then now we only have 5 pieces of data, so it's not as interesting, but we could still do this. So remember, if I have 5, the middle one gets kind of torn both ways, okay? Or if I have any odd number, the median gets kind of split both ways. So let's look at the lower 3, 77, 84, and 86. What's the median there? 84, so that's just going to be my Q1. And then 86, 90, 93, what's the median there? 90, okay, so that's going to be my Q3. Okay, so go ahead and make a number line. I did mine by 5s. I started with 75 and went up to 95. You could break it down further. You could use a different point, something that makes sense to you. Okay, but go ahead and make a number line, plot this, and try to make the box and whisker plot in your notes, okay? Okay, so that's the box and whisker plot that you should get. Number 4, can we list these from least to greatest? What's the smallest number for number 4? 34. Okay, what's, oh, sorry, back to number 3. I forgot about the IQR. What would the interquartile range be here? Q3 minus Q1. So 90 minus 84, just 6. Okay. Okay, now number 4. The smallest number is 34. Then what? 36. How many copies of 36 are there? There's 3, yeah. So there's 1, there's another one, there's the third one. Okay, what's next?
37.
37. Is there more than one 37? Yeah, there's 2, so let's get both of those. Okay, and then what's after that? 42. 44 twice, then 50, and 62. Okay, so 34 then is what? What do we call 34 for this set? The minimum, or the min? And what's the max?
62.
62. Okay, and let's find the median. Now, if you have this in your notes, go ahead and cross them out. Find the median, or make some sort of a line under it so that you can find the median in your notes. Should have it in your notes. Yeah, go ahead. You have to stay at the end. Okay. All right, so if I go into the middle here, I find the median is 37. So this is Q2. Okay, that middle is going to be shared between the lower half and the upper half. Okay, so I'll go in from the middle on each side there. The lower half, if I go in towards the middle, I'm going to cancel them like this. I get 2 copies of 36. So I have 2 entries in the middle, so I need to take the mean of those, which is just 36, right? So this is my Q1 is 36. Okay, what about the upper half? It goes from 37 to 62. I'm going to cancel them out. And I get 2 again in the middle, 44 and 44. So Q3 is just 44. All right, and then I make my box and whisker plot. For this, I have to go from 34 to 62. I could use 2s or 4s or 5. However you think is the best way to show this on a number line. I would do mine. I'm going to go from 35 up to 65 in 5s. I know the lowest is 34, but I can just go right below that, right? So 34, that's my min. Okay, now Q1 is 36. That's going to be here. Q2, what's Q2? 37. Okay, so that'll be right there. Q3? 44, so that's here. And what's the max? 62. Okay, so with the middle 3, I make the box. And with the outside, with the min and max, I do whiskers to them, okay? So let's compare. Look at number 3 compared to number 4. Do you notice, besides the fact that the numbers are different, do you notice the position of the box? Does it seem different to you? Anyone want to comment on the difference? Hayden?
It moves.
Yeah, it looks like the box is way over on this side. So we're going to talk about that more next week. But we say that that's skewed to the right. So this, on the bottom, it's showing us that 75% of the... in 75% of the games, the points that they score are between 34 and 44. Do you see that? This is 25 for the whisker, right? 25, 25, 25. So 75% are between 34 and 44. The other 25% take up this whole thing. So there's kind of a wider range on the last bit, right? They just had a couple really high scoring games. Okay, so you can see kind of where most of the numbers lie with where the box is kind of positioned. Okay, and then on this one, the inner quartile range, you would do 44 minus 36, which is just 8. All right, so after going through those examples, we just debriefed and talked about how we can create a box plot from a data set. So basically just the steps for today, how we identify each of those important numbers and plot the numbers. So we're plotting the min, the max, and then Q1, Q2, and Q3 to create our box plot. Number 2 here says what percentage of the data does each of the whiskers in a box plot represent? Again, since these are quartiles, it splits the data into 4 pieces. So each whisker represents 25% of the data. And then the box, since it's 2 pieces, it goes from Q1 to Q3, it actually represents 50% of the data. So that was it for today. Go ahead and work on the homework for this section, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Thank you.